We are live. Welcome, everybody. Do you like my new background? I worked on it last night. It was super fun. Hey, we've got epic news. I just launched a new podcast. What? In 24 hours. I wasn't even planning on launching it, but I launched it none the same. So let me first pin this post and welcome to my amazing preschool system friends. Guys, you're gonna be blown away by what's going on right now with this podcast. Let me just tell you the story really quick, okay? So good to see everybody. Hashtag live, hashtag replay when you bounce on. Okay, so this, we already have a podcast, right? And the podcast is called Preschool All Stars. You already know that. And we've already been doing that podcast since January, I want to say 2021. Okay. So we've been building that podcast for 2.5 years. We have 250 episodes. Holy cow. That's a lot of talking. And that's amazing. Like that, but it's all things preschool, right? And what I have inside of my heart is I've realized that this is amazing. Like I've created like all the business and the marketing and all this stuff to help women start preschools. And we've started, over 5,000 preschools, but we need to take a step back because guess what? There is a whole lot of mental work that goes in to being a successful preschool owner. And many times people skip that step. They're just like, go right into like being the, business owner. I can do this. Yeah, I've never done a business before, but sure, let's do this. And they just like run straight into it. And then they realize, oh crap, this is actually a completely different world over here. And their mind starts playing with them and all the fears start coming in. Hashtag live, hashtag replay. Keep the comments coming so that we can get this message out to everybody. Good morning. So good to see you here. So, and then what I realized was there's a reason why people are struggling to start their preschool. It's not the business and marketing and the teaching. We've done it all for you. Like it's proven it works. But there's the hidden component, which is the person who's actually running the business. I can give you literally an entire giant business. And if you haven't like qualified yourself to run the business through working on this up here, guess what? That business would literally fail. And so I realized, hold up, we got to do things differently. We got to not only do Monday motivation and mindset and stuff like that, but we have to have a proven framework for you to walk through to help you overcome your fears, and like get out of your self-sabotaging behaviors and stop holding yourself back and stop giving up on yourself. Like all these things, like there's actually a framework for it. We're going to be teaching it tomorrow called the Phoenix Journey. So excited. That's going to be over on my personal profile though. So be sure to follow me there. I go live there at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay. Typically I'll go live here at 9:15 a.m. Eastern, but I was a little bit late because we have exciting news today. We just launched the second podcast. This second podcast is going to help with this, okay? Because if this doesn't work, you don't work. If this doesn't work, your business doesn't work. Make sense? We have to keep this firing on all cylinders, right? And by this, I mean your mindset and your mind. And so I launched a new podcast yesterday called Bring the Mothers Home. Post in the comments if you know what that phrase means. If you don't, that's okay. You're going to learn. But I'm so excited for it. What's up, buddy?
Didn't you already make something called Bring the Mothers Home?
Yes, it was just an episode, a podcast episode. Okay. Now I'm making a whole show. So here's the thing. I have been wanting to create this podcast called Bring the Mothers Home for years. Like I think ever since 21, 22, no, 20, ever since February 2020. Oh my goodness sakes. That's been 3 years. This podcast has been on my heart for 3.5 years. What? Yes, it's crazy. So for me to actually be like launching this today is like surreal. I had no intentions of launching this podcast. In fact, like I thought someday I'll launch the Bring the Mothers Home podcast. And let me give you the quick show notes of like what the Bring the Mothers Home podcast is for. So here's the description that I say in my little intro. If you're a purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is passionate about building your own business and fulfilling your mission without sacrificing your family, then we invite you to join the Bring the Mothers Home movement, where we'll help you gain clarity, confidence, and courage to rise to your full potential and become who you were made to be. I'm your host, Joy Anderson, and this is the Bring the Mothers Home podcast. Isn't that amazing? I wrote it last night after many revisions. So I am so pumped. Okay, so anyways, yesterday I was like, I'm gonna launch a podcast in a day. I don't know how to do it. Last time I hired a podcast team, and I don't have a podcast team right now, so I'm just gonna like figure this out myself. And there was one thing that I was like, the one thing I didn't know how to do, and what it was like actually submitting your podcast to Apple. Like I didn't know how to do that. By the way, holy cow, we have already had people coming into this contest. So good job if you've already come over to the contest. I'm proud of you. Good job. You go to joyanderson.com to enter our podcast contest and you can win $1,000. But I'm going to tell you all about how to find the podcast on our app and all these things. Okay. So, anyways, yesterday I was like, okay, I'm going to launch this podcast. Don't know what it's going to be about. Don't know what I'm going to say, but like I've been preparing for this for 3.5 years. So I think we're going to figure this out. and so I got all to the point where it was like, okay, submit your podcast to Apple. And I like Googled it. It's amazing. You can just Google things and find out how to do stuff. And find out how to like submit it to Apple. And so it was like, oh, it might take up to 5 business days for Apple to approve your show and show it in their app. And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to tell people tomorrow to go like listen to the podcast because we're launching tomorrow. And so like I put like a big damper thinking, okay, this might not work out. And I went to bed thinking, hopefully, praying. But sure enough, when I woke up this morning at 5 a.m., just 5 hours after I'd submitted the podcast to Apple, it was approved. So huge miracle there. Super excited. And not only that, but I was able to get not only the trailer of the podcast, but 3 episodes on the podcast as well. So they are ready for you to listen. Are you ready for the most epic of podcasts? For the one that is going to nurture your heart and soul. Okay. I mean, Preschool All Stars podcast is amazing. That's where you're going to learn all your business and marketing tips. But Bring the Mothers Home podcast, that one is for me. That one is for you. That one is me saying, hey, I'm more than just preschool. I have a bigger mission on my heart to share my passion with everybody about coming home. But coming home to do what? Coming home to who, right? That's what you're going to learn. Okay. And then I'll be also sharing tomorrow I'll be starting the Phoenix Journey Framework. So super pumped. Okay. Here's what you're going to do. Here's how you find the podcast. Are you ready? Now, it's not on Google Podcasts yet. Darn it. But soon it will be, okay? I've already submitted it. Apparently, Google Podcasts does take a couple days legitimately. So here it is on Apple Podcasts. So here's what you do. You go into your phone and your apps and you click on your podcast, okay? Apple Podcasts right there. So if you have an Apple phone, go click on Apple Podcasts. Nope, that's not it. Try again. Click on Apple Podcasts. Then it's a purple icon. Then you need to go to the search bar. So you see the search bar right down there. It's a little magnifying glass, okay? Right at the bottom corner, it's a little search bar. Magnifying glass. Okay, click on the search bar, and then it's going to say the search feature up there, okay? Now you're just going to type in the words. Bring the mothers home. Dun, 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 dun. Bring the mothers home. Press enter or search. And guess what? It pops up. It's like so exciting seeing your stuff in like an app. It's so cool. Bring the Mothers Home podcast. It's pink and it's beautiful. Do you see it? Okay. Bring the Mothers Home podcast. There it is, friends. It's right there. It came right up. Now, right next to it, you'll see my other podcast called Preschool All Stars. So if you haven't subscribed to that one, go listen to that one too. But they're right there. But anyways, go click Bring the Mothers Home podcast right there. Ta-da! And you're in, friends. This is the podcast. And when you come, it is so bright. Okay, there we go. When you scroll down here, let me actually play one of mine so I can get that on there. Dun, dun, dun. Check this out. Welcome to the very first episode of the Bring the Mothers Home podcast. You're a purpose-driven female entrepreneur who is passionate about building your own business and fulfilling your mission. It's so fun. Okay, so here we go. Anyways, so when you scroll down, you're gonna see I have the trailer that's already up. That's the one I was just listening to. Please listen to it, okay? It's not just like some fluff trailer. It's 6 minutes long. It is something I want you to listen to. It's like the explanation of what this podcast is and why it means so much to me. Okay. So first, listen to the trailer. Then I need you to keep going. You're going to see, come on now. You're going to see all the episodes. Number 1, Mountains, Lakes, and Evergreens. Number 2, From a Dream to a Nightmare. Number 3, The Real Meaning of Bring the Mothers Home. There are 3 episodes you can go listen to. These were recorded in real time over the last 4.5 years. So those 3 episodes, and I clue you into what they are. But I have been documenting the journey all along the way, and I need to get you up to speed. I need you to know the full story. Here we go. Thank you so much, friend. So I need you to know the full story of where I came from and where we're headed, because holy cow, this is turning not just from a phrase, but into a mission, not just into a mission, but a movement. I truly believe that I am led to call the Bring the Mothers Home movement. And you are part of that movement, my friend, but we can't do it by ourselves. We got to get other people with us too. We got to share the message. And that's why I'm doing a contest for $1,000. You can win $1,000 cash by simply sharing the message, right? And it's so cool. So here's what you can do. I want you to go to joyanderson.com. I'm going to put that little link. Here we go. Go to joyanderson.com to enter to win $1,000 cash when you come on over. Okay. And so there's a couple things you can do whenever you get there on joyanderson.com. One of them is simply to share a Facebook post. I put a Facebook post on my personal profile, and if you just click the link after you register to enter to win, it'll say, hey, share this Facebook post, and you'll be able to share it to your friends and family. Then, so that it's a super easy way to share. Because trust me, you're going to love this podcast. Now, the next thing you want to do, okay? The next thing you want to do is you want to subscribe to the podcast. So the reason we want to do that is because anytime you put out a podcast, that's cool. You can get a couple listeners or whatever. But guys, this is a 4.5-year mission that I've been building, right? I need to build this into a movement. I need your support and help to share this with everybody you know. I'm so passionate about this. Like I can't stop talking about it, right? And what we are building here, we're going to be doing new episodes every single morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. There's going to be a new beautiful episode on there to just to walk through, the Phoenix Journey frameworks that just came to me over this past month and a half, to so many things. I'm so excited for you. But every morning we're going to have a new episode. But we need your help to share this podcast, okay? And to show Apple that this is a worthy podcast so we can get to the top 10 in Apple and therefore have our podcast show up as people are scrolling. And then they'll say, oh, I didn't know about this podcast, okay? Or your friends and family don't know about the podcast, like your sisters, your aunts, right? Like they don't know about the podcast either, okay? So truly, this is for you. This is for me. This is for every purpose-driven female entrepreneur that, what does it say again in the show notes? It says, who's passionate about building your own business and fulfilling your mission without sacrificing your family. Okay. And trust me, there are so many of us out there that are going to need this, because if I needed this, I needed this. In fact, I created the Phoenix Journey frameworks, which you're going to learn about. I created them specifically for me first. I needed to solve my own problems. I needed help. I was giving up on myself over and over and over. There was, I've been called to like lead this Bring the Mothers Home movement. And for what? 4.5 years, I've been doing what? Sitting and doing nothing, because I truly felt like inside of me, I needed to become the true joy, the true identity. And I had to shed off all of these parts of me that weren't true anymore. The parts that I had put on for protection over the past many years, especially after COVID. And I just became a different person, and not the real me either, and I'm like, I'm back. I'm so happy to be back. But I need to share this because not only has it blessed my life and changed my life and saved my life, but I know that it will help yours as well. And so many other women. I need this message to share out with millions of women. So, do you understand the scale of the movement I am trying to build and the impact you have the power to help me create? That's where we're at, friends. I'm so pumped. So, here's how we do that. Okay. We go to joyanderson.com and it's, enter to win that $1,000 contest. But also, here's how you can help us share the podcast. Okay. So the very first thing to do, and over at joyanderson.com, you'll earn more points and to be able to win that $1,000 if you do these things. So over here, if you come over here to the podcast, you simply click this plus follow button. Do you see that plus follow button right there? That's the subscribe button, okay, to subscribe to the show so that you can get the episodes and they can keep coming to your phone. And every morning you can have a beautiful new, 15 minutes. It's going to be super short, 15 minutes or less, little framework to go on a beautiful power walk or, as you're driving in the car or as you're cooking dinner or as you're, whatever you're doing, cleaning the house, whatever you're doing, a small little 15-minute every single day is going to bless your life. So, and it's going to we'll have a new episode every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay. So what you do again, go to plus follow right there. And this is an Apple Podcast after you found it. And you're just going to click that plus follow. And then once you do, it's going to give you a little check mark. Yahoo. Okay. And it would also say enable notifications. Yes, you want to know the notification. So you get the notification that we have a new episode every morning. Okay. So yes, the little check mark. Woohoo, you're subscribed. Good job. So there's 3 things that Apple Podcasts loves to see in order for any podcast to go up the ranks. Okay. The first one is subscribes. How many people are subscribed to the show? And you just helped us. So good job. The second thing, okay, do this with me, right? So you're going to go into your Apple Podcast, search for Bring the Mothers Home, and pull up the podcast. Let's do this together. Don't wait for later. Let's do it right now. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll to the bottom of this right here. Scroll to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. And then right below it says ratings and reviews. Ratings and reviews. And my friends, if I have helped you in the last 15 years, you're going to love this podcast. Okay. So you can go listen to some of the episodes, or of course, you can just know if I've already helped you in the last, 15 years, is going to be a good podcast regardless. But anyways, in either case, send me a rating, right? Like, have I earned your 5 stars? I sure hope so. I hope I blessed your life. So to do that, you simply click the furthest star from you. And you can also do a slider where you can actually see yourself giving the whole 5 stars. And then it says, good job, rating added, thank you. So you can rate the show there. Hopefully we've earned your 5 stars. And then after, write a review. So just right there, write a review. Apple loves to see reviews as well. And so I've already written a review, but you can add your own review and then click send. Okay. So you typically can only add 1 review, but you can rate each episode with 5 stars or however many stars I've earned after each episode, which is pretty darn cool. Okay, so those are the 3 things that Apple Podcasts loves to see: subscribes, ratings, and reviews. When we get a lot of that, we get our podcast from the pit of nothingness into the top 10 where they start showing it. So when people start going into, they go into the browse and they go into like the let's see, the self-improvement area, right? Which I don't even know where it is. But anyways, somewhere. But the point is somewhere. I haven't been on browse for a bit. But the point is that whenever they get to the category of, education and self-improvement, that's where our podcast is going to populate with all the other amazing podcasts. And because we're a new podcast, Apple loves to see, hey, what are the new podcasts out there that everyone is just loving? And this is where you come in. The subscribes, ratings, and reviews help our podcast get up to the top of the Apple charts so other people can get to know us. Not only are you going to share out the Facebook post to tell others about our amazing podcast that we just launched, but also you're going to be able to do the subscribes, ratings, and reviews. And that will also tell Apple that we love this podcast too. So when we get it to the top 10, guess what? We're going to have an epic party. And if we get it to the top 10, I 100% guarantee I'm adding more prizes to that prize bucket. Okay. I'm saying it right now. You get me to the top 10 of Apple Podcasts. Last time we did this, guys, we got to top 7. So we can do this again. All right. This is going to be going for a week, but we got to hit it hard. We got to hit it hard, get these subscribes, ratings, and reviews up. We got to share the Facebook post. We got to tell our mama, tell our aunt, tell our neighbor, tell our daughter. We got to tell everyone that this is a podcast for them. It will pour into their heart and their soul and help them feel so much happier in life. And truly, this is a movement we're building. And so I'm so grateful that you're on the journey with me. I'm going to let you go now, my friends. But again, go to Apple Podcasts. Well, in fact, I'll just drop the link. Go to joyanderson.com, and there you'll be able to find all the things to do. And of course, go to your Apple app, your podcast app, and go subscribe, rate, and review. You guys are amazing. Tomorrow, I'm going to be right back here answering your biggest preschool questions. I just had to announce we just launched the podcast, but tomorrow I'll be announcing your biggest preschool questions and answering them as well. All right, friends, we will see you soon. Same time, same place.